Welcome, I'm Janine Bolin, your financial first responder, and today we're going to cover the math basics. It's about compound interest and the rule of 72. And I'm describing this because when I was out teaching the 60-40 principle, I've been teaching it for about 30 years now, but when I first started teaching, there was a period of time where I had a woman come up to me and say, Janine, I need you to help me with the math. Show me on a calculator what you are talking about. And I want to honor that woman's courage because it took a lot of guts for her to say that in a room of 60 people that she didn't know very well, to say, I don't understand what you're saying. Teach me the math. And so I have to be sensitive to the fact that some of us have not had algebra ever, and some of us can't even remember algebra because it was too long ago. And sometimes I get so wrapped up in what I am trying to share with you that I blow past what your memory of math may be. So this may be a rather basic course for people, but I wanted you to share it. If this is too basic for your math skills, like you got this on lock, then just remember this for the people that you may counsel in the future, whether you're a coach or a grandma or a mother or what have you. Realize that there are going to be other people that you're going to stumble into that will need your skill set in math to be able to move to the next level for their financial future. So thank you for helping me pass the information along. So the 60-40 principle, I like to describe how many people have a very linear view on money. Money comes in, they put it in the bank, and they pay their bills, and they hope that they have more money than they have month by the end of their bills, with the end of their month. And a lot of times they don't understand that money actually moves in a circle, the living, saving, and giving arms. I've described this before in other webinars, so I'm just going to kind of cruise through this pretty quickly. So when I got to this part of the lesson is when I got reminded of algebra. When I started talking in terms of percentages, which we do a lot in the financial world, because we don't know what sum of money you're holding in your hand. So what we want to do in the financial community is make sure that you're saving some money, you're giving some money away, and you're living on a percentage of that money. So we have a tendency to use percentages a lot. So let's talk about that math for just a little bit. What I encourage people to do when they're first starting on the 60-40 principle, I encourage them to say, okay, grab some money that you have that's laying around, that's like in a piggy bank, or you have a $20 bill or something like that, and start with that small amount of money. Many times for my college students, they have like $5.25, or some of them have a $20 bill. So we use $20 frequently in our lessons. So if we do the 60-40%, say you have $20, 60% is going to go into your checking account, 10% is going to go into a short-term savings account. It's by using money in the short-term savings account that keeps you from getting into debt. 10% goes into your Roth IRA, which is a retirement fund that you want to support yourself with in later years. 10% you want to give away just philanthropically, and then 10% may go to a spiritual organization or a group of people that are doing good works in line with your particular moral compass. So this is the 60-40 principle. And when you operate in this way, you move money around in that circle, and it's considered regenerative. By moving money in that way, it will come back to you, and you will constantly have a new flow of money moving towards you. Some people call it the law of attraction. When I first started teaching this, I hadn't heard of that before, but the law of attraction is definitely stimulated with this format. So back to algebra, what was this woman struggling with? She couldn't remember how to put 60% in her calculator. So she had $13 she wanted to break up according to the 60-40 principle, but she couldn't remember how to put that 60% in her calculator. So I just want you to remember that anytime you see percentages like that, 60%, you take the percentage sign and you move it 2 places to the left, and that will help you get into the decimals so that you can divide up your money no matter what amount it is correctly. So let's take that $20, and 60% is 0.6. So that means $12 you're going to put into your checking account and use that to pay bills or pay down your debt or what have you. 10% is 0.1. And that means you have $2 left of everything else. And those $2 you're going to put around in a circle. And therefore you're taking care of the 60-40 principle by, you have the living section, you have the saving money section, and then you have the giving section. And so that's how you divide up that $20. Now, I have clients that have anywhere from $100 to $3,000 that will come in, and they'll divide it up in this way. Okay. So I also promised you that we would be talking about compound interest today. Compounding interest is one of those things that, even though money is inorganic, it acts like an organic organism. Because when I was studying science and I was learning about bacterial colonies, I found out that they grow on a logarithmic curve. And believe it or not, the way money grows is also in a logarithmic curve. What does that mean for you? Well, remember when I was talking about people see money in a very linear perspective? It doesn't grow that way. Now, many of you may have heard about Warren Buffett. This is a man that's worth about $86 billion now. But what we want to talk about is that when he was 14 years old, he only had $5,000 invested in his world. And that as he got older and older, he had more and more money, but his true wealth didn't kick in until he was in his 50s to 80s. It was the last 30 years where you see that logarithmic curve going up in his financial situation. So whether you're dealing with $5 or whether you're dealing with $1,000, the point is this: if you become a habitual saver and you put money in that IRA and you don't touch it until you are of retirement age, you will also see this curve. Let me show you what it looks like to what I call real people when we're dealing with $5,000 a year or something like that that we can put in. In my book, Cash Cars in College, this is where I teach children, young people ages 12 to about 24. In the pages 63 through 64, I took this, forgive me, I took this right out of my books because I didn't want to have to rework slides for you. What I am showing here at the top is if you have something that is at 8% interest or 12% interest, and you donate $100, it will grow in this way. And that is making the assumption that you're not adding anything else. You're just adding $100 and you're just letting it sit there and compound year after year after year. The goal is that you will continue to add money to that savings account and you'll get a higher curve, a bigger curvature over time. With compound interest, because it's compounding monthly in the United States, you can see where you start to see that logarithmic curve when you have $100 that you're compounding every year. And of course, the higher the interest rate, the more money that you get. The average in America is anywhere from 6 to 10%. That's considered a really good return on your investment, okay? What I wanted to show you is this is if you just take $100, put it in a savings account and never touch it again. This is what happens when you actually increase it, that you're putting $100 in every year, you'll really start to see that curve go up. But it takes anywhere from 10 to 20 years for these kind of curves to be seen in your investing. And you can start at any time of your life. Like I have people that are ages 55 and they're just now starting to save. And I'm like, well, in 20 years, you'll be 75. Don't you think that's retirement age? And they start laughing. I'm like, it's never too late to start this. So the whole goal that I have for you with the 60-40 rule and what you're learning right now is I want you to become a habitual saver. I want you out of debt within 3 to 5 years. And I want you to be habitually saving money all that time, not only in your retirement account so that you have money for when you're older and you don't want to work as hard. And you also have money in a short-term savings account. So in case some sort of emergency happens, you have cash that you have access to that you can pay that off and you're not having to pay it off with a credit card. Now, this is the rule of 72. You may hear this when you start talking about investing and handling your money and looking at to the future. You'll hear the rule of 72 bandied about. Now, I got this right off of this slide, came right off of YouTube, where the Alliance Group has the Alliance Academy. One of the things I wanted to let you know about is when it comes to investing, no matter what company you invest with, it is in their highest and best good that you are an educated investor. They do not want you investing your money in an ignorant way. They want you to know what's happening with your money. So I'm going to recommend several different companies to learn from because their bread and butter is people like us. There are people who are investing in themselves, they're starting their own Roth IRAs, they're kind of learning the ropes, and these companies specialize in training what I like to call middle class millionaires, where we're not trying to be billionaires, we're just trying to be financially solvent. Anyway, they work really hard to help us with that. So the rule of 72 is simply this. Now this slide is not, oh, I forgot. The companies that you can go on YouTube or you can go to these companies' websites, and they actually have educational videos to teach you how to invest, whether it's mutual funds or whatever. Their highest good is your highest good, because Vanguard and Fidelity Investments and Alliance Group, these three are the big ones. You also have Merrill Lynch, Edward Jones, those sorts of things. But I choose to focus on Vanguard and Fidelity because when I was a young investor in the early 1990s, I had to call their 1-800 numbers, and they had conference calls where they would actually educate you over the phone on a conference call. Now they actually have YouTube channels, and they really want you to understand what they're saying when they talk to you about your financial well-being. So I have a preference for these two companies just because they taught me what I know now, and I like to honor them. They also specialize in people who are learning how to invest their own money as opposed to working with a financial planner. So it's in their best interest that you know what you're doing. Okay, I didn't mean for that to come off as a commercial. It's just most of what I know comes from those two companies and their educational programs. So in the shortcut, what is the rule of 72? Honestly, this is what it is. The rule of 72 is basically how long does it take a chunk of money that you invest at a certain percentage rate to double. That's all the rule of 72 is. But as Einstein said, the rule of 72 is one of those things that's miraculous. It's such a simple algebraic equation, and yet it shows you huge amounts of information, such as if you have $72 and you invested in something that gives you 8% return on your investment a year, it'll take 9 years before that $72 will become, what is it, 244? Anyhow, 100, yeah, 244, 144. So that's what it takes to double. So that's all the rule of 72 is. There's a lot of language that happens when you start investing money, and I cannot express to you enough, ask a lot of annoying questions of people. It is very important that you talk a lot about money with people who know how to invest, because they want you to be educated. So don't let the taboos of your family or your culture or whatever prevent you from asking questions of people who are very literate when it comes to finances. Go ahead and call up Vanguard, call up Fidelity Investments, or call up Merrill Lynch, whatever company that you work with, and talk to them about what does it mean when you say, and then you ask them those questions. I think I got into the habit of that when I was living in Japan. I was a young child, but a lot of times people would use words in Japanese that I didn't understand in English. And so I was used to asking a lot of annoying questions about language. So when it came to mathematics or money, I continued to ask annoying questions, because if I don't understand what somebody is saying to me, I'm going to ask, what are you talking about? because it behooves me to be educated in what they're talking about. This is my money, right? So I want you to do the same. I want you to be very educated in what you're doing. In case you're not already taking my 10 Steps to Abundance program, please do. It's free. I don't do a lot of heavy marketing on this. You get, when you sign up for this, you'll get 2 emails a month where I'm giving you extra information, resources, that sort of thing, you can just go to my website, the8gates.com/free, and you can sign up for that program if you're interested. Also, I have a YouTube channel. It's under Financial First Responder is the YouTube channel. And I have 3-minute money tips. I will post these under this video in the course that you've signed up for. I'll give you all these links to the various things I'm sharing with you. But I wanted to let you know that every Friday, I'm posting another video as a 3-minute money tip. So that's pretty much what I had to share with you today. If you're interested, this is my phone number, that is my office, or I'll have a link below this video where you can sign up for a 15-minute courtesy consultation where you can tell me a question that you have or what have you, and I'll be glad to share an answer to the best of my ability. But that's pretty much it for today as far as what I wanted to share with you. And if you have any questions, let me open up the floor for that.